What's up, fellow Vanguard nerds? I'm Babblerab, and this is the replacement deck for my Rexes. So, as I had said in the channel update video, I did sell my Rexes to Neosis in order to get some Gaia stuff. I had found out that actually after having played this deck again, it wasn't the Rex playstyle I really enjoyed so much as it was the Gaia playstyle. So, the Bird said it wasn't a huge loss of investment, but I know a lot of you guys recently anyway had subscribed to my channel because you did want Rex content, and I'm probably never going to apologize enough for this and never going to say this enough, but I will make sure that I speak to Neosis so that he can give you guys more Rex content so you can keep up to date with how to do Rexes, because I do want you guys to continue getting Rex content and all, and being able to have someone to talk to ask questions about Rexes. I know there's other channels out there, but you know, I feel as though he can still provide good content since he is starting as a Vanguard YouTuber, and I feel as though since he is a Tachikaze main, he can give you guys some good insight on Rexes. So, yeah, this is my replacement. It's a budget Gaia Ampere deck, which means that there's not going to be any Gluttony Dogma in it, because I'm not really, at the moment, feeling like spending $30 a piece for Gaia. But, you know, I am spending money on Nubatama and Bermuda because those are my two main clans. There's a chance that if Great Nature doesn't work out, this could be another secondary clan. I might have Great Nature just become a casual, so I might end up purchasing Gaia Emperor in the end. But it's really going to depend on my deck preferences and how much I find myself playing each deck. So, getting to the deck, this should come as no surprise. Starters Baby Kamara. The card is basically the best thing to run in this deck. You have no reason to not play this card right now. I don't see anything else worth running at the moment, half because I haven't actually looked up at the new cards, but half because this thing just puts so much work into the deck. So yeah, Baby Kamara, I think it's probably the best starter for the deck. 4 heals, artwork preference, I like Savage Healer. It's got really good artwork. I like it. So yeah, that's nice. Kamara getting in the way. I don't have the new Tachi heal or anything, but whatever. 2 copies of Sludge and Kylo. Draw trigger, soul charges, gains 3k, just so you have an extra bit of draw power and you can power up your units, so there's that. Not really too much else to say. I'm playing 4 heal, 2 draw, 6 crit, 4 stand. And you should know what the stands are. 2 Parasol Launcher, soul charges himself when you swing with something with Gaia in his name. Gives 5k to the unit with Gaia in his name, you draw a card, so it gives you hand advantage and powers up the unit. Nothing wrong with that, because you are playing Gaia. It's kind of the same reason why you play like Naroi, Reyna, what is his name? Mini Belly? Little Belly? Kopek, comment below and tell me what it's called again. But yeah, basically any of your little crit trigger boosters for your strides. Same mentality there. Reason I don't play 4 is because I don't have 4. And there's also that mentality is like, this guy's good. Ancient Dragon, Dino Dial, Soul Charge to unflip a damage. Nothing wrong with that. Again, 6 crit is what I'm playing, so that's really good. And then, like, honestly, this is, I am in love with this card. This is probably my favorite stand trigger in the entire game of Vanguard. Actually, no, it's between this and Dreamer Crook. I can't decide which. But Cola Magnum. Holy crap, this card is good. You play Rexes, it's a star player. You play freaking Gaias, this thing kicks ass too. Like, the ability to just have this thing, know that you're going to power up a unit, put a trigger back into your deck, and draw a freaking card after you sack this thing. Like, come on, it's so good. Like, you can go, like, a column with, like, Gaia Emperor and, like, even make a poor play, and if you have Cola Magnum, you're like, oh, I'm drawing, like, an extra 3 cards or something. Like, I've gone with, what's his name, Gradio Gigant, whatever. And if you have, like, 2 Cola Magnums plus, like, an Apatomacer, you have a hand of about 10 cards or so by the end of that. Plus, it's not just like you sacrifice attacks to gain cards in hand. No, you're still swinging with big columns because each Cola Magnum makes your whole field that much scarier. I cannot tell you how much I love this card. I would never run less than 4 of it. Heck, if you could play 8 of it, I would play probably upwards of 6 at least, because it's just that good. Like, if this thing had flavor text saying that you could play any number of cards in it. I know I'm going on. I'll be done shortly. But if this thing had flavor text saying it's like you can play any number of Cola Magnums, this guy'd be gone. Like, there's no point in him other than just to get draw power. I would play 6 crit, 6 Cola Magnum if I could play 16 Cola Magnum. Like, I can't say how good this card is. I am absolutely in love with this card. It is, like I said, one of my favorite stand triggers in the game of Vanguard. That rant is done. 2 Savage Heroine. I could bump this up to 3. I think what I would drop would maybe be a Freezer Nyx. But other than that, Savage Heroine, I see her enough solely because Kamara can fetch her. Kamara, can fetch her, so it's not really a huge problem. And she is nice. She can make big columns if you've engorged enough stuff, which is usually 2 other units, which is perfectly fine because she becomes a 12k on her own, and it's good in my books. A, I can't afford the Unflipper, and B, I don't think it's needed because this guy turns into an 11k. He's searchable by Tyranno Brute, and if you call him off of Baby Kamara and then you engorge him, like, you friggin' get PG back to your hand after it becomes an 11k attacker. Like, there's so many, like, actually, like, thinking about this for, like, half a second, there's so many good things about some of the interactions with these cards on the deck. It's a wonder that some of the Tachikaze decks don't actually, like, top very frequently. Like, it's amazing that you don't see, like, Gluttony keeping up with stuff like Time Leap and 7 Seas. 7 Seas, I would say, it's understandable because that deck is absolutely cancer. Sorry to all the 7 Seas Rush players there, but, like, from what I've heard, it's, like, very bad. Like, some guys in the Vanguard community built the deck just for fun, just to see what would happen, and by the end of the day, they vowed they would never play the deck again. Everyone from Cardfight Calgary who was involved with that, you know who I'm talking about. You can thank Jude for telling me that story. So, or was that Jude or Kyle? I think it was Ghost Clone who told me about that. So, yeah, moving back on, but yeah, it's amazing that you don't see more Tachikaze topping, and I might just be due to like a skill gap or something, but I don't play meta too much. I literally just pick the deck I want and then try to push it as far as possible, which most of the people in the city that I live in do, so there's that. But yeah, it's like the amount of skills that these cards have, it's like, what the hell, how did Tachi's not do well? 4 Freezer Necks. This is, yeah, not too much to really explain here. You have 4 because you can unflip a damage and soul charge, and that's really all you care about. This is very frequently my target for Gaia Ampere to give the auto revive to, for good reason, obviously. So yeah, not really too much to say. If anything, I just bump him down to 3 and play 3 Savage Heroine, but he shows up enough, Savage Heroine shows up enough. I have really no complaints about this card. 3 Prism Bird. This is a very stride reliant deck. Most of your power plays are going to be a stride, so you want to see strides as much as possible. The bright side is, though, with the Sarco Blaze and Tank Mammoth combo, you can early game to pressure, so it does have that going for it. But again, most of your end game plays are due to strides. And more importantly, you can fetch the right Gaia if you don't have the right one. So if you have a Desperado in hand, but you're like, I want a Gaia Emperor, you call down a Prism Bird, fetch yourself the Gaia Emperor. So there's that. Grade 2s. 2 Paddle Macer. I think I'd played 4 at one point. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but you don't want to see this guy all the time because he can screw up a lot of your plays, but you do want to see him enough that he can give you lots of hand advantage. If he's protected by Gaia Emperor's skill, every single time you keep calling him, which is probably going to be 1 extra time, you still get that draw effect off. So good pressure unit can build a very big hand if protected by Gaia Emperor. And again, combo with like Great Ajigan and Cola Magnum. Oh my god, so good. Like, this deck has the ability to have 7 or 8 cards in hand by the end of a turn without too much issue and still put pressure on the opponent. And again, this is without Gluttony Dogma. 2 Jigsawsaurus. When you boost it, gets 5. Choose one of your rear guards, retire. When it attacks Vanguard if it's boosted, you choose one of your opponent's rear guards, any, retire it, gets 5k, and if it hits, it draws a card. So it's on hit pressure, knocks out a rear guard, and powers up. Nothing really too much to complain about that. My only peeve is that I don't have 3. I probably would try to fit in 3, but other than that, 2 is really good. 4 Sarco, 4 Sarco. I saw 3 there. 4 Sarco, 4 Tank. This is your early game. These 2 cards here make for an absolutely savage early game. Because your opponent's more than likely your opponent's going to want to just guard with triggers in the early game. So the fact that Sarco's just like, I don't think you get to guard with triggers means your opponent's forcing out combo pieces at this point. And then the interaction with Tank Mammoth is like, you swing Tank Mammoth booster for 12, kind of like you would do with Tidal Assault. You swing Sarco, boosted or whatever, they can't guard with grade 0s, revive the Tank Mammoth, and then swing with Tank Mammoth again for more numbers. And it's just a fantastic way to put pressure on the opponent, and these are like star players in the early game. And even in the late game, Tank Mammoth can get a lot done on your turn because he just revives himself automatically, so you don't have to worry too much about comboing him with any other effects because he just keeps himself alive. I'm surprised at how much I'm actually talking with this without dropping ums and whatnot. Very impressed. So, moving on to the grade 3s. The 3 Gaia Emperor. Reason why it's not 4 is due to the fact that I only pulled 3. None of these were actually purchased. I had pulled all of these in packs, so I didn't have to spend any money on the cards. If I was going to get one, I'd probably just get like the reprint from the GBT10, which is like 25 bucks. But other than that, 3 is good. I'd like to play 4. It's just a question of can I motivate myself to buy a 4th one. And then we're playing 3 Gaia Desperado. He's actually a pretty solid first grade 3 to have on your field as well. Like, you don't need to have Gaia Ampere or Bust. Gaia Desperado gets a good job done because he can give your Stride unit an extra draw skill when it engorges a unit. So even then, the extra draw power from him is okay. He's honestly the preferred grade 3 that I like to go for just because he can apply extra pressure. But in the event that you don't see Gaia Emperor, Desperado is a great card too. In addition, if he's on Vanguard or Rearguard and you're at GB2, he also gives himself 5k, and if he's on Vanguard, he gains a crit, versus Gaia Emperor only gains the 5k and a crit while on Vanguard. So, still a pretty good card. Much, much cheaper. If you're trying to build this deck on a budget and you can't afford this guy, which is understandable because he's not exactly cheap, play 4, and then 4 Tyranno Brute would be my recommendation. Speaking of Tyranno Brute, we're playing 2. So he's Counterblast, Soul Blast, Search for an Engorge, which does mean that these guys are valid targets as well as your PG. Lots of Engorge cards in this deck, which is very nice. One thing that bothers me a little bit is that Shiranui does not have Afterimage. I know I'm bringing in Nubatamas into this, but it kind of bugs me a little bit how Gaia Emperor has Engorge, Loris has Harmony, but freaking Shiranui doesn't have Afterimage. I mean, what can you do? I would kind of wish the new Shiranui had Afterimage instead of Domination, but, you know, sad face. Oh well. So yeah, he's really good because he can make himself really big when he gets engorged. 5k for each unit that he engorges, and he hits for really big numbers after that happens, so that's really nice. Again, you get to search for like units off them as well, so digging is always good. And we'll see. We'll move on to the Stride deck. I can talk. Stride deck, once again, fairly budget. I'm not playing Gluttony Dogma, so we're just saving money where we can. 4 Gaia Dynast. This guy is basically engorge 1, sack a unit, glass everything else in the column is him. And you could really care less if you do that with Gaia Emperor because, yeah, pretty solid. So, interesting thing with like how the timing on this card works is the unit you sacked would activate the skill of Gaia, normally, but the way that Vanguard works is that you can choose the order that the skills resolve and activate in if they would all activate at the same time. So, say this guy's being protected by Gaia. I don't know why I'm giving like a little explanation of this, but we'll say he's being protected by Gaia and we're just gonna say you're amazing at this game, so you have the best stand trigger in Tachikaze sitting behind him. So, you would, if this guy's got protection from Gaia, you would go swing. Like, these are probably rested at this point. You go swing, engorge, don't activate Gaia's skill yet, so just put him there for now. Glass this column, which would have like opponent's rearguards in it or whatever, and then due to Gaia's self-revival effect, he comes back, this guy's skill then activates. So, yeah, you activate and resolve all the effects, so your engorge activates the second skill of him, but it also activates the effect of Gaia as well, so you can choose, hey, I'm going to resolve this first, and then bring him back afterwards, so yeah, there's that. That's pretty nice. I don't know why I need to explain that, but whatever. But yeah, the fact that he countercharges after he goes and glasses a column is a great way to punish people who are trying to build fields against this deck. Because you can say, well, I'm just going to sweep a column, which sadly is pretty much the same way Perditions do, except this is much cheaper. And it's really aggressive and facilitates other card effects. But I digress. Anyway, he's also got a GB3 skill where it's like if a unit's sacked, you can counterblast 1 to revive that unit as well. So if you're a GB3, this guy just gets absolutely insane. He's a great first stride, great field control unit, does a whole lot. I dropped him. That's why I play 4, because I don't have Gluttony Dogma. This is a good other stride if you don't think that this is a favorable condition for Gaia Dynast, and you're like, oh, I just want to get a lot of cards. Grado Jigen gets really big, and as a result gets really scary if your opponent doesn't have a PG, and then if you sack 3 or more off of the Engorge, you draw a card. So comboed with shit like freaking Cola Magnum and other draw power cards like a Patomacer and such, your hand can get pretty big pretty quick just with all of the 2 or 3 extra draws. So you get 6 cards into your hand, which could result in like an 8 to 10 card hand depending on how much you have in hand. The fact that he gets really big is also really nice too. 1 Hammer Gold. Again, this is all due to the fact that I don't play Gluttony Dogma. Sack something in the front row, I believe. Yeah. So it's engorge. If you engorge 2 or more, he sacks something in your opponent's front row, and he gains, what, 3k? Yeah, he gains 3k. So, not too bad. But there's not really any buts about it. He's pretty good. But, like, again, I don't play Gluttony Dogma, so I'm going to stop talking about that at this point. We've got these. Just going to put these under the hey look, I don't have, like, these are extra cards here. So, Twin Tempest, in the event that my opponent has a big field and I need to get rid of it, hasn't happened yet. Arch Raider, just because I had one, I was just like, oh, let's play it in the deck, might as well, it might be useful for something. And then GB8 in the event that I actually hit it. This thing's pretty scary, honestly. Yeah, pretty freaking terrifying, especially if you combo him with Gaia Ampere, because it just revives the unit. It's just like, I'm gonna engorge. So, and again, you're not just sacking with the Vanguard, you're engorging with a shit ton of other stuff, so you can like just make big columns over and over again as long as this guy's on the board. So, pretty terrifying. And then, yeah, Arch Raider's just there because it's Arch Raider. Gluttony Dogma proxies that I don't stride unless I feel like trying out or seeing what Gluttony Dogma can do in that situation. Obviously, if I wasn't in an event, I wouldn't even use them. And then Demorphalax and Blockade Ganga. And less rear guards than your opponent. He gains a 5k shield, so he gets big and kind of scary. And then, what does he do again? Choose one of your rear guards, sack it. When it's placed on guard circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, he gains 10k till the end of the battle. And then you choose up 2 of your rear guards, and if they're retired... What if it says 2 of your units on your guard? No, probably not. And if they're retired, they return to hand. So basically, you can sack something in your back row or whatever, and then you can like sack, and then you can like intercept with the 2 units that you given this effect to, and you get them back to your hand. So that's pretty good. I haven't got that effect off yet, but I see the applications in it, and he gets big too, so that's good for keeping yourself alive. So yeah, that was my budget Gaia deck. Budget being a relative term, let's just say casual Gaia deck. If you have any suggestions outside of Add 4 Gluttony Dogma, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Heck, even if you want to say Add 4 Gluttony Dogma, I'll just like make a cringy face and say I know, feels bad, or something along those lines. So yeah, other than that, that was my casual deck along with the Metalborg deck that you saw yesterday. So yeah, I'm Babblerab, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.